Let me tell you something quietly unsettling about the people who notice everything. The ones who see the shift in someone's tone before it becomes obvious. The ones who catch the flicker of discomfort in a friend's eyes. The ones who read a room like they've walked through it before. These people aren't psychics, but they live with a kind of emotional radar that never truly switches off. They're too aware, too tuned in, too perceptive for their own peace. And while everyone around them appreciates their understanding nature, very few realize how heavy that level of awareness can feel. People who are too aware grew up believing that safety depended on observation. Somewhere in their early years, they learned that you don't wait for storms, you purely sense them. They learn to scan moods, decipher tension, and adjust themselves accordingly. To the outside world, they seem wise, empathetic, intuitive. On the inside, they're constantly processing, predicting, preventing. Their mind never just exists. It's always scanning for meaning, always catching undercurrents, always noticing the things others ignore. This creates a strange kind of loneliness, because when you understand people deeply, you stop being surprised by them. You stop expecting consistency. You start predicting disappointments before they happen. And slowly, your ability to see the truth becomes the very thing that isolates you from it. Highly aware people aren't necessarily introverts, but they carry an introverted heart. Their emotional life is rich, detailed, textured. They replay conversations and analyze expressions not because they're overthinkers, but because their mind naturally tracks patterns. They can tell when someone's affection is fading before the person even realizes it. They can sense when someone is lying, even if they never call it out. They can pick up tension between two people who swear nothing is wrong. Awareness becomes a gift wrapped in burden. You see too much to feel calm, and you feel too much to ever be careless. The truth is, people who are too aware rarely feel understood. They're the ones who comfort others with depth but receive surface-level comfort back. They're the ones who listen closely but feel like nobody listens the same way to them. They're the ones who explain people's emotions but struggle to explain their own. This imbalance makes them appear emotionally mature on the surface, yet silently overwhelmed inside. Because when you're too aware, you don't get the luxury of oblivious joy. You don't get the innocence of not knowing. You see the cracks in relationships, the hidden intentions, the subtle power plays. You pick up the emotional weight of every room you enter, and over time, this constant intake becomes exhausting. Another thing about hyper-aware people, they rarely react immediately. They observe first, they process, they give others the benefit of the doubt. This makes them seem calm, but it also means they internalize more than they should. Their default mode is reflection, not confrontation. They speak carefully because they understand the impact of words. They hold back because they don't want to misread the moment. But inside, they've already mapped out the truth. They've already pieced together the patterns. They know what's really going on. They just choose silence because they've learned that people don't like being seen too clearly. Hyper-awareness often comes with emotional fatigue, not because they feel too much, but because they feel too many things at once. Other people's moods layered with their own. They're the ones who smile while their mind is analyzing 10 different signals. They're the ones who calm others down while quietly suppressing their own anxiety. Their awareness becomes a performance, one that everyone benefits from except them. They are the emotional air purifiers of their environment, absorbing negativity, stabilizing energy, smoothing the friction in interactions. But air purifiers get dirty, and nobody thinks to clean them. One of the hardest parts of being too aware is the constant fear of being misunderstood. Not because they're complicated, but because they see the world in subtleties that many people ignore. To them, everything means something. Every silence is loaded. Every gesture matters. Every inconsistency is a clue. This depth makes it difficult to connect superficially. They crave relationships where they can finally rest, where they don't have to analyze, predict, or filter themselves. But such relationships are rare, and so they shrink. They become careful. They observe instead of participate. They trust slowly, love cautiously, and detach quietly when something feels off. People who are too aware often struggle with self-expression. They know how they feel, but those feelings are layered with so much context that putting them into words feels incomplete. So they stay quiet, not because they're emotionally repressed, but because their inner world is bigger than language. Instead, they communicate through presence, through small gestures, through understanding looks, through subtle acts of care. But the world is loud. It rewards boldness, not quiet depth. So their most beautiful qualities often go unrecognized. Here's something else. Hyper-aware people are rarely surprised when relationships end. By the time someone leaves, they felt it long ago. They sensed the shift, the withdrawal, the emotional drift. They tried to fix it silently. They adjusted, adapted, softened, waited. And when nothing changed, they accepted the truth internally before it became external. This makes them seem cold or distant, but they're neither. They simply process heartbreak long before others know it has begun. There's a psychological reason behind all of this. Hyper-awareness is linked to heightened empathy, trauma-informed pattern recognition, and overdeveloped emotional intelligence. It emerges when the mind has been trained to survive by understanding the environment before it becomes dangerous. This awareness then follows them into adulthood, shaping their relationships, their decisions, their identity. It becomes their shield, but also their weight. Their clarity becomes their responsibility. Their emotional intelligence becomes their quiet prison. People who are too aware often struggle to relax. Their mind anticipates too much. They think in cause and effect. They notice things that don't make sense. Even their silence is never empty, it's filled with analysis. They can't simply let things be, because they intuitively understand that things become what you ignore. So they stay alert, not out of fear, but out of habit. They don't want control, they want safety, and awareness is the closest thing they have to it. Romantically, hyper-aware people love deeply but carefully. They study their partner's emotional language. They learn their patterns. They notice their triggers. They become attuned to their partner's needs in a way that feels almost telepathic. But this level of attunement comes with a fear. The fear of being too much, too intense, too perceptive. So they dim their awareness to make others comfortable. They pretend not to notice things. They downplay their intuition. They act naive even when they aren't. All because they've learned that not everyone wants to be seen this clearly. In friendships, they often become the therapist, the one people confide in, the one who provides insight, the one who listens deeply. But very few friends reciprocate the same level of emotional presence. Hyper-aware people end up giving more than they receive, not intentionally, but because they naturally understand more. And after a while, this imbalance makes them pull away, not out of resentment, but out of exhaustion. They crave people who understand them without needing explanations. People who notice their silence the way they notice others. People whose emotional depth feels like a home, not another responsibility. Here's the paradox. Hyper-aware people often seem strong, but their strength comes from coping, not comfort. They appear emotionally stable because their emotions have nowhere else to go. They speak calmly because they rehearsed every version of the moment in their mind. They seem wise because they've spent years observing instead of participating. Strength for them is not confidence, it's survival. But the most heartbreaking part is this. People who are too aware rarely extend the same compassion to themselves. They forgive others quickly, but judge themselves harshly. They understand others' imperfections, but never feel allowed to have their own. They can explain everyone's trauma except their own. They encourage others to rest, but never feel safe enough to do it themselves. Their awareness builds empathy outward and pressure inward. They carry others gently while carrying themselves like a burden. And yet, there is beauty in their awareness. They love with intention. They listen with their whole being. They understand without needing explanations. They create spaces where others feel seen, safe, understood. Their presence feels like emotional clarity. Their mind is a quiet lantern in a dark world. They are the people who can change your life without ever trying, and the world needs them, even if it rarely knows how to care for them. If you see yourself in any of this, remember something small but important. Not every emotion is your responsibility. Not every shift in the room belongs to you. Not every silence needs your interpretation. You don't have to see everything to be safe. You don't have to understand everything to be loved. Sometimes it's okay to let things unfold without analyzing them. Sometimes it's okay to rest in not knowing. Awareness is a gift, but even gifts need boundaries. You can be perceptive without being consumed. You can be empathetic without absorbing. You can be wise without carrying the world. And the right people, the ones who meet you at your depth, will make your awareness feel like peace instead of pressure. Because at the end of the day, hyper-aware people aren't difficult. They're just tuned to a quieter frequency, one that most people aren't allowed to hear. But those who hear it, those who understand it, know it is one of the most profound human qualities to exist.